Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Trasher Football. Today we're going to discuss the 2024 Oregon Ducks football schedule. Now, before we get into it, I do want to shout out my boy Neon King, coolest Oregon fan I've ever met. He's a fan of Trasher Football. He's an Oregon fan. I want to make sure that I shout out my boy. He's a moderator in the Discord server and on our live streams. Great guy. But without further ado, let's go ahead and crack into this schedule. Week 1, you have the Idaho Vandals from the FCS traveling to Autzen Stadium in Eugene to play against Oregon. Now, for a lot of you that don't know, Idaho used to be Division I FBS. They used to be not a good team, but good enough to be in Division I FBS. And for those who do not know, there's FBS and there's FCS. FCS is basically the little brother. You can move up or you can move down. And Idaho was moved down because stadium capacity, not because of anything to do with the university or the football team. I think it was just because of their stadium capacity, and they didn't want to change the stadium because Kibbe Stadium is really important to the university. But they're not a good team. This Idaho football team has not been good practically ever. You know, last season they did go 9-4. But that's FCS, you know what I mean? The thing is about these teams, like if you want to compare, Idaho to 2014 when 2013, let's do 2013 when NCAA college football 14 came out. They were 1-11 when they were FBS. That's not good. That's not good. They've never historically been good. Give me Oregon. This is an obvious win. Oregon might drop over 70 points. I would not be surprised. And, especially with Dylan Gabriel transferring over at quarterback, there's a big chance that could happen. Dylan Gabriel's got a nice arm. But in week 2, you have the Boise State Broncos versus the Oregon Ducks. It will be in Oregon again. If we're going to talk shouting out, shout out to the Young Fridge, co-host of our live streams when we do it sometimes. He's a Boise State fan, but he's not going to like this. Oregon is going to demolish Boise State. There's really only one player on that Boise State team that I really like, and that's Ashton Jeanty. He's a really good running back, probably a top draft pick when he goes into the draft, but a running back can't carry a bad team. Give me Oregon by like 49 points. This is gonna be a big blowout. And then in week 3, you have the rivalry game. This time it'll be at Oregon State between the Ducks and the Beavers. Now, the Beavers are still left in the Pac-12, the Pac-2. I'm sure a lot of players transferred away from both Oregon State and Washington State. They have a joint schedule between them two and the Mountain West Conference. I'm sure that they're going to combine after the season's over. This is going to be another easy win for Oregon. Oregon State's been an okay team. They've had some solid wins, but also some really interesting losses over the last couple of years. But do give me Oregon. And then you have the bye week, and then you have at UCLA at the Rose Bowl. Now, this will be, I think UCLA is one of the teams that's joining them into the Big Ten this upcoming season. Yes, they are. So this will be, it's so weird to think about that UCLA and Oregon in 2024, this upcoming season will be a Big Ten matchup. It'll be interesting. I have a lot of trust in Oregon's defense, especially in these first 3 games. Give me Oregon again against UCLA. UCLA has also been an interesting team to think about, really, especially due to the fact that this is going to be Deshaun Foster's first year as the head coach of UCLA. He graduated from there as a running back, played in the NFL for a while, became assistants for them, then went to Texas Tech for a year, and then came back to UCLA, moved up the ranks to become the head coach. This is a very interesting year for UCLA. Let's see what they can bring to the table, but do give me Oregon to win. Pretty easy win right there. And then you have probably the first real Big Ten team matchup, not including the Pac-12 teams that are moving conferences with Oregon. You got Oregon versus the Michigan State Spartans. It will be in Eugene, Oregon. Michigan State last season, after the scandal that they had with Mel Tucker, a lot of people transferred out due to that. The team was awful. He got fired. They had the interim head coach. The team wasn't good. But the team is now in a rebuilding stage. And now with Jonathan Smith at the head coach, moving from Oregon State to Michigan State, the team that we were just mentioning before. I mean, more from Oregon State to Michigan State. Sorry, I might have flipped that backwards. But, he was decent at Oregon State. I don't know if I have the biggest hopes for him at Michigan State, but we'll have to see. He's not a horrible coach. He's not. But do give me Oregon to win this one over Michigan State, probably by 3 possessions. It'll probably be close for a hot minute, but I think Oregon will pull away pretty quickly. And then you have probably one of the biggest games in the Big Ten to talk about in this upcoming season. You have Ohio State traveling to Eugene, Oregon to play between the Buckeyes and the Ducks. Now, the Buckeyes, they're an elite college football team. Last season their defense was probably top 3 defenses in the country. I mean, they held a lot of teams to very few points last season. They did still lose to Michigan, but, they won the national championship, but we'll talk about them later. I don't think that Ohio State has even named a quarterback yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's Devin Brown. He backed up Kyle McCord, but also Will Howard, the former quarterback from Kansas State, is transferring in at quarterback for Ohio State. So that'll be an interesting quarterback battle. I don't think they've announced who the starter will be yet, but I don't think it matters on who the starter is going to be. Give me Ohio State to win in Autzen Stadium against the Ducks by only a field goal. I don't think it's going to be a last-second field goal, but I think Ohio State's going to have the edge the entire game, and Oregon's just going to be that close from catching up, but it's not going to be enough, and close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades, as the old people say. So far I have a 5-1 record on this Oregon Ducks team. Now in week 8, you play at the Purdue Boilermakers. Last season, Purdue did go 4-8, and there's a reason why Uncle Lou, shout out to Uncle Lou, calls Purdue Purdue-doo. They're straight doo-doo. They're not good. They used to be decent, but I don't know what happened to them. They've fallen off. This is going to be an easy win for Oregon. Purdue had one of the worst defenses in the Big Ten last year, allowing what it looks like 49 points, 41 points, 41, 44, 38, 31. I mean, that's a lot of points to allow, and this Oregon team has a great offense. They could very well drop over 40 on this Purdue defense. Oregon's going to win this one by a lot. And then in week 9, you have the Illinois Fighting Illini traveling to Oregon in between a game between Oregon and Illinois. Now, this will also be a interesting Big Ten matchup. When I think Purdue, I don't really think Big Ten football, but when I think Illinois, I think of the awful division in Big Ten football. But with them now excluding divisions from the Big Ten Conference, just like the SEC is doing, I don't think it's really going to matter. This is going to be a very easy win for Oregon here against Illinois. But when I do think of Illinois, I do think Big Ten football. Not a good Big Ten football team, but I do think Big Ten football. Give me Oregon by a lot. And then in week 10, you have probably the second most interesting game on the schedule for this Oregon team, as the Oregon team will travel to Michigan. Now, this is going to be the Wolverines' year without Jim Harbaugh. They're going to have to see what they can do without Harbaugh, without J.J. McCarthy, without Blake Corum, and with the new head coach in Sharon Moore. And then you have to really look at last season. He did a very good job when Jim Harbaugh was away from head coach, serving his suspensions. He did a really good job at the interim head coach position, but a lot of your talent has left, including your quarterback and your head coach. This is going to be a little bit of a down year. I'm sorry for you guys. I know you're the defending national champions. Your defense still might be good, but I don't know about your offense. It's probably going to be a bit underwhelming. I do think that Oregon's offense is going to be able to still score some points over this Michigan defense. Give me Oregon by a touchdown. This could go either way due to the fact that it'll be at Michigan. It'll be in the big house. It'll be rocking. But if you want to go trash me in the comments, go ahead. Like I said, this could go every way. This is just a predictions video. Just the predictions. I know as much as you do. I don't know anything. I could 100% be wrong. Because you guys seem to love making fun of me because of my Colorado and Florida predictions. But in week 11, you have the Maryland Terrapins traveling to Oregon. Now, for those of you who do cover the College Football 25 video game, some pictures did release about the Maryland's football stadium. Unfortunately, this game is going to be in Autzen Stadium, so there's no reason for me to even be discussing it. But Maryland is losing Talia Tagovailoa, the former quarterback for the Terrapins, the younger brother of Miami Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. This is going to be a really hard game for Maryland. They went 8-5 last year. You still have Mike Locksley as the head coach at the Maryland football team, but he's been kind of mediocre. 3-9, 2-3, 7-6, 8-5, 8-5, possible 8-5 again for the Terps. Give me Oregon, and by a lot. This Oregon's offense is going to be insane. You can disagree with me, but I don't care. This Oregon offense is going to go insane. They probably are going to drop over 35 points in all games except for Michigan and Ohio State so far. And then in Week 12, Oregon will travel to Madison, Wisconsin to face off against the Badgers. Now, this is going to be Luke Fickell's second year as the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Last season they went 7-6, but the year before they also went 7-6. So can you really even call that, an improvement? Almost said up good of a change. I couldn't think of the word for improvement. I don't think so. Wisconsin also will have to play Alabama this season. That's going to be another game that could honestly kill their confidence in themselves. I don't like seeing that in football. I do think Oregon will win. It'll probably be the closest game to an upset on the Oregon schedule so far, due to the fact that it'll be in Wisconsin. The fans are going to be crazy there. No matter how bad the team is, the fans do tend to show up still. Do give me Oregon by maybe 2 touchdowns. And then in the last week, you have Oregon versus Washington in the battle of the rematch from last season. They faced off in the regular season. Washington won. They faced off in the Pac-12 championship. Washington won. Can Oregon get their win back against the Huskies this season? Can they? I don't know. But in my opinion, I think they will. Kalen DeBoer leaving Washington really hurt the team. Michael Penix Jr. leaving the team really hurt them. Rome Odunze leaving the team hurts them. Oregon's going to come in there, and I think that they're going to show why they are a top contender in the Big Ten. They're going to come in there, and they're going to be Washington. They're going to beat them, not by a lot, I don't know. But I think Dan Lanning is going to get the job done. I really do think he's going to be able to get the job done against this Washington team. And at the end of that, I do have Oregon going 11-1 or 10-2 at the worst. I don't see them beating Ohio State. So 11-1 at the best, 10-2 at the worst. Most likely one or the two. But leave in the comments what you guys think that Oregon will go this college football season. Tell me what schedule you want to see me predict next. Make sure you tune in later today for the interview with Matt Brown for all you college football 25 football. I said football again. Video game fans. We'll be answering some of your guys' questions, and then in 3 weeks we'll be doing another interview with Matt Brown to end the trilogy before the video game comes out. But I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Make sure you leave a like down below and you subscribe. Tell a friend to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.